Little thing to know, this was originally going to be a Yokomo review, but a friend of mine who happens to be a sponsored driver for Kyosho gave me his buggy for a few weeks and basically said, "Here, do a review." So I said okay. Also, I know one of you was looking forward to me doing a review on this specific car, so here you go. Before we begin, however, I'd like to say if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel if you like my content, like the video, and comment what you think of it. Without further delay, this is my experience with the Kyosho RB7. Now, I can't really talk too much about the build and how it goes together initially, as I didn't build it myself. What I can say is that the feel of everything is very high quality, especially for the price. I'd say the quality even surpasses the LoC 2250 I used to have. The design itself is quite well thought out and clean for the most part. There's nothing especially spectacular about the buggy itself and its design, but there isn't especially anything wrong with it. What I like the most about this particular buggy is the fact that it's the stock spec. All the weight it saves is rotational, so for stock racing, you already have everything you put in to make it faster. However, there are certain things that irk me a little bit, all of which show this buggy's age as it has been out for about 3 years. For one, what I can discern from the manual itself is that it wasn't translated that well from Japanese. For example, the shock towers are called shock stays, and the process for filling and bleeding shocks reads like this. For front, for rear, pull the oil, keep expanded, tighten the cap until it slightly stops, then loosen it for a half-second lap. Insert the shaft slowly, surplus oil comes out, tighten the cap firmly, and pull the shaft. Not terrible English, I could figure it out just fine, but for a beginner they'd be a bit confused. As you can also probably see, the battery adjustment still uses a foam system. Not terrible, but not great when compared to other systems for other brands that use more secure methods. Another thing that is more a peeve of mine is the fact that instead of filling the oil up from the top, you have to fill them in from the bottom, like the LoC Mini T and Mini B. I didn't really like them there and I don't really like them here. These are not really big things that would stop me from running it or even buying an RB7 for myself, more so just personal things I would have to get used to. What are things that would keep me from buying an RB7 are twofold, both of which are things that resulted in me ultimately getting rid of my LoC 2250 as it has the same issues. First off, the ball cups have no holes in them. The problems with this are double. Not only does this make them more annoying to build without a ball cup tool, but whenever I want to change my geometry or roll center, I have to pop off the cup itself to get to the ball stud. This wears out the ball cups over time and causes them to wear out more over time and make them easier to pop off in a crash. None of these small issues, however, are as critical as a lack of an easy access differential. This is by far the biggest negative of the buggy itself and what really shows its age. We live in a world of high traction and multiple track surfaces, some dirt and some carpet. In this world, we have to have access to our differentials to tune or even change them between tracks. Now, this isn't much of an issue if you live in an area with only dirt tracks, as it's possible to tune a ball diff while keeping it in the transmission. However, if you're on a high traction surface like turf or carpet, well, it's going to be an issue. This is part of the reason why easy access diffs have become such a huge selling point for so many buggies coming out these days. Changing out the diff on a Team Associated B6.3, Yokomo YZ2, Schumacher LD2, and X-Ray XB2 are no more than a 5-minute job if that. On a LoC 2250 and a Kyosho RB7, it's more like a 20-minute job, maybe more if you're like me and you don't know how to get to it efficiently. Alright, I've bashed it enough. What is it like to actually drive this thing? Now, it's important to note that this is a stock spec version of the buggy itself. That means it comes with direct drive as standard, a lightweight body, and lightweight axles, all to reduce overall and rotational mass. This car in particular has also been fitted with a gear diff for this AstroTurf track. It's also important to note this is more or less a budget build. Not too cheap, but not top of the line either. After all the crap I've been giving this buggy up until now, you may be pleased to hear that this is probably one of the easiest buggies to drive I've ever tested. Very, very consistent and very agile. This sort of showcases the short wheelbase of the actual buggy itself, and it works very well on this tight and technical AstroTurf track. I will say though, the car had a good deal of understeer at speed, but this is mostly due to my tire choice. Another tire choice later, and I was able to set a new lap record for two-wheel drive buggy on this track. As for how it handles on clay, I can't really say firsthand how it handles, but coming from the person who gave me the buggy, it felt really planted and well sorted. I'm assuming it also had some of the same characteristics as it did on the AstroTurf track. Since it has that shorter than usual wheelbase, it was probably very agile and easy to drive. No, I didn't deliberately crash this buggy to see how tough it was because, as I said before, it's not my buggy. However, I have seen it crashed a lot of times, both on this AstroTurf track and at the clay track, and it's held up very, very well. Overall, the buggy drives quite well. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, and there's a lot right with it performance-wise. But this sort of brings me to something I wanted to say about the modern RC world. When it comes to racing vehicles, there are no bad vehicles. They may have their ups and downs, but if you were to give any pro any buggy, chances are they're going to do well. I may not be a pro, but I've won club races and done well with larger races with Team Associated, Losi, Schumacher, and now Kyosho and Yokomo. The main selling point of modern day buggies isn't necessarily their performance, it's of their accessibility and ease of maintenance and setup. Yes, it is a very fast buggy, but working on the RB7 is simply too much of a hassle for me. And as a result, I won't be switching to Kyosho anytime soon. Maybe with the RB8 I'll be back to give Kyosho another shot, but for now, I'll have to pass. That's all for now. If you liked this video, be sure to like and give it a comment of what you thought of it below. As for my patrons, I'd like to thank Michael Williams, Lucas Tarka, and RC World Discord server. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you guys next time.